In the second episode of The Most Notorious Talker Runs the Greatest Clan, Noel holds a letter in his hands, written by Lloyd, from which he learns that Lloyd had made a large failed investment and was in debt, which is why he stole 12,800,000 fil of their party's funds and fled to the capital. Learning this, Noel bursts into a hysterical fit, amused at the thought that the ever-chivalrous Lloyd did this, although Walter doesn't understand how Noel can be laughing at something like that, and gets mad at him. Walter tells Noel that he went to Lloyd early to tell him about a good job he heard about at the tavern last night. That's when he found his room cleaned out and was handed this letter by the innkeeper. Over half a day since they had left, while normally they would not even meet till afternoon. Noel is impressed by Lloyd's plan. Upon Walter asking about what they were going to do, Noel tells him there should be record of the gate they passed through last night. Walter tells him he will beat him to a pulp, of course.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
Noel takes an annoyed sigh, repeats what Walter had said, and admits that's truly a plan only a muscle-headed fairy like Walter could come up with. Noel then grabs Walter by the collar and makes him realize the gravity of the situation, that this was a complete betrayal. Noel tells Walter that it'd be a waste of time, even if Walter could beat them, because they wouldn't give up the money. A frustrated Walter then asks Noel that should they just do nothing about it, then to which Noel grins and says they will repay them 1,000 times, as is his motto. Noel and Walter are standing outside the Orcs Club. Noel then enters the club and announces that 2 members of his party, Blue Beyond, Lloyd and Tanya, had betrayed them by embezzling party funds, and so anyone who captures them and brings them back alive would receive 2 million fil as reward. Walter questions Noel about what he's doing.
We don't do that here.
Noel tells Walter that they could not accomplish this by themselves. Walter is confused by it, but Noel says he'll explain it later. Wolf's party, Lightning Bite, takes the offer, and Noel tells them the necessary details regarding the case. As Lightning Bite leave in a rush to fulfill this 2 million fil task, Noel is kind of disappointed, thinking this announcement didn't pay off like he thought it would, when a stranger tells Noel he wants to discuss the job over with him. Reassuring Noel, the strategy was the right one. The man tells Noel and Walter he had seen the 2 yesterday. Walter demands he tell them where they were, but the stranger says he would do it for the price offered. But quick-witted Noel immediately corrects him and tell him he would be paid only 1 million fil instead, as he was only giving them the information. The stranger tries to bargain with Noel for 1.5 million and then 1.4, but Noel remains adamant at 1 million.
Oh my!
Noel sees through the old seeker past his prime and knows he would not turn such a big offer down. This works, and the old seeker gives up, agreeing with Noel to let him do it for 1 million. He tells him that he passed them on Varley Road outside the South Gate. Noel then tells the old seeker to get his party together and wait for him at the South Gate. Noel tells Walter to go with the old seeker, and that he will join them later, saying he has something to take care of here, which he'll explain later. They meet up, and Walter asks Noel if he would be able to kill his former party members. Noel tells him he certainly would, and without mercy, even if it means killing them. Noel worries about Walter's half-hearted resolve for this, and how this could affect their task at hand. Arriving at Carnote Village, Lloyd and Tanya decide to spend the night there to rest up for their journey. Lloyd tries to cheer up Tanya by telling her, knowing Noel, he would not come after them for the money, because it would be a waste of time, when he gets interrupted by Noel himself, who asks if the 2 were enjoying their date in the village.
Today your ass is gonna die, bitch.
Before Lloyd or Tanya have a chance to do anything, Noel completely immobilizes them with his stun howl. Hey, you know, you're pretty breathtaking for making it this far. Drop stun howl in the comments so we could know. Walter and Noel question Lloyd for their motives. Noel asks Lloyd if he had used up the payment for the lesser vampire too. Lloyd apologizes and says he used that up too.
What the fuck?
Noel follows with, was it another investment? To which Lloyd says it was a debt. Noel smiles like he finally had put all the pieces in the puzzle together and asks Lloyd if he's a gambler. The apologetic act Lloyd had been putting up thus far completely drops from his face, and he is left shocked, as though Noel had hit the nail right on its head. Cards? Dice? Roulette? You lost too much and went to a loan shark, Noel asks Lloyd. Lloyd begins to apologize again when Walter cuts him off and, exhaling his steamy breath onto Lloyd's face, starts screaming at him if he understood how hard they worked for that money. Lloyd, finally revealing his true colors, starts playing the victim card, and blames them for making him the leader and asserting their rights when it suits them when he gets stomped in the face by Noel. Noel reminds Lloyd he became the leader himself, put pressure on himself by gambling while kicking the lights out of him. As Noel continues to make pudding out of Lloyd's body, Lloyd begs him to stop and forgive him, although Noel tells him he would have to ask for it 1,000 times more first. Tanya tries to stop Noel, but that ends up backfiring on her as Noel, an avid practitioner of true gender equality, asks her if she would like to take them instead. Noel then uses the truth proclamation skill of talkers on Tanya, and she confesses to gambling with Lloyd. Afterwards, she asks Noel in a delirious state if he realizes what he had done, but Noel stops her midway and tells her he's aware using it for personal gain is illegal, but he used it on a criminal to make them admit to their crimes. Bathing in their misery, Noel tells the two embezzlement is punishable by 10 years of hard labor. The old seeker demands his payment from Noel. Noel tells him to wait there, but he becomes impatient, so Noel delivers a heart concussion to him, a move his grandfather had taught him so he could defend himself as a talker. Meanwhile, a rather fancy carriage arrives where Noel and the others were at, carrying an even fancier passenger on board, a lieutenant of the biggest mafia group in the imperial capital, the Luciano family, and boss of the Barzini subfamily, Pincio Barzini, aka the two-faced mad clown. Anticipating this would happen, Noel had previously struck a deal with Finocchio about selling Lloyd and Tanya off as slaves to cover their losses. The sadistic Noel tells Lloyd and Tanya they would be better off being sold as slaves, as the survival rate of imprisonment with labor is only 2%, while as slaves, they could get a good master if they're lucky. As the mad clown tries to appraise the two for only 6 million fil, Noel brings his price to 15 million fil, proposing he would tell everyone he sold them for 30. So their value goes up, and with the right buyer, the mad clown could eventually sell them for 90 million fil. Impressed by Noel's sharp mind, Finocchio invites him to join his mafia family, but Noel passes and the deal for the slaves is set. The mad clown politely asks the old seeker to not mention this dealing to anyone. Tanya, in a last-ditch effort, asks Noel to forgive her, who without a straight face tells her she should have thought that before gambling their money. Before being taken away, Tanya pleads to Walter, only to insult him with everything there is when he doesn't help her. Being called a heartless devil by the old seeker, Noel figures he should use this sort of notoriety to place himself amongst the world's strongest. Disheartened by everything, Walter quits being a seeker despite Noel's encouragement and invitation to a new blue beyond. The two bid farewell, and Noel walks away after wishing Walter good fortune. Walter looks on as the greatest brother-in-arms he ever had walked out of life. Seeing a shedded snakeskin, Noel realizes he must also shed his old scales and grow new ones in order to grow, marking the day as the rebirth of Blue Beyond. Stay connected, like and subscribe for more fun recaps on one and only Endless Recaps.